Hey all, and welcome back to another video from some dev dude. Today we're going to be continuing our series in SQL Injection with another SQL Injection Union attack. This time we want to retrieve multiple values in a single column. This might be useful when there's only one column returned in the first query that you can modify, and then you want to get the username and password or multiple values from the columns that you can access. So remembering with union queries that every query has to have the same number of columns returned as well as the columns matching the same type. So here we're going to use some SQL syntax to join two columns together. So we have union select, and then we have two of I call those pipe operators from just using terminal. Then tilde in quotes, and that's just used to separate the two columns, and then two more of the pipe operators and password from users. So what those two pipe operators are, that's actually the string concatenation operator in SQL. So I've already opened up the the lab here. I'm just going to quickly read that. So this lab contains a SQL injection vulnerability in the product category filter. The results from the query are returned in the application's response, so you can use a union attack to retrieve data from other tables. The database contains a different table called users with columns called username and password. To solve the lab, perform a SQL injection union attack that retrieves all usernames and passwords and use the information to log in as the administrator user. You got a hint here, I'm gonna have a quick look. You can find some useful payloads in a SQL injection cheat sheet. PortSwigger give out a lovely and comprehensive injection cheat sheet, and in this case we're going to be using the string concatenation. So I've opened up the lab here. I've already opened up across in Burp Suite. So this is the Burp Suite Chromium browser. It's going to open up GIFs, and we know that the vulnerability is in the category filter, so I'm not going to bother exploring anymore. Get over to Burp Suite, open up the HTTP history. I'm going to send the filter request for the category to repeater. So here we have the request. What we're going to do first is, again, the first step in any SQL injection union attack is we need to figure out how many columns there are. So we're going to type in union select. Remember to use plus signs to represent spaces. And then we're going to just add another single null and 2 dashes for the comment. So that's errored out. So we're going to see if there's another column by adding another null. And there we go. That's the loading page. Second step is figure out the data types of each column. So that comes in. So, okay, the first column can't be a string. Let's try number. And loading page. So the first column is a number. We'll leave that there as 1. And let's see if the second column is a string. It isn't, but I think that's because I am using the wrong quote. Okay, now that we know what the data types are, or columns we're going to play with, we're going to start inserting the query that we want. So select username. It's going to add the string concatenation. I'm going to add a tilde. You can use whatever character you want there. It's going to follow the example from users. I'm going to be a bit lazy and just get the administrator password. Actually, let's double check. Yeah, to complete the lab, we need to log in as the administrator. Where username equals administrator. And that should work. Yep, we've logged that. Gonna make that a little bit bigger. Now we could look through and render the HTML, but I'm gonna just find it in the code. Where is the administrator? There's the username and password. So you're gonna open up the Chromium browser, click on my account, password, administrator, login. And there we have, we've logged in, we've solved the lab. So how does this work? The assumption that I'm working off is the expected query is select ID and name from products where category equals gifts. But because ID is a number and name is a string, we can't just return username and passwords in the two columns. We have to put them both into one column. So our input is union select null, username, and then we use the string concatenation operator in SQL, which in this case is the two pipes, followed by the separator that we want to use wrapped in quotes, and then another concatenation operator, then the second column. And you can continue repeating this for as many columns as you want. And then from users, where username equals administrator, just to get the exact information we want back. And that changes the query to select ID and name from products where category equals gifts, union select null username, concatenating that with a password from users where username equals administrator, and that gave us the username and password for the administrator. And that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. As always, any questions or comments, leave them in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.